This is the first lesson in our study of the 12-bar blues. We will start off right at the beginning, talking about what the 12-bar blues is, how it's constructed, and how it's played. We'll then explore some different ways that you can voice the chords, using our knowledge of rootless chord voicings, chord extensions, and chord alterations. So first of all, what is the 12-bar blues? The 12-bar blues is the most common blues chord progression. In its most basic form, it contains just the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord of the given key. It's important to understand that the 12-bar blues is a cycle, and it's repeated many times during a performance. The blues is most commonly played in the keys of F, B flat, and E flat. This is because the flat keys are preferred by horn instrumentalists, such as sax and trumpet players. You will also find blues written in other keys, but these 3 are the most common. We're going to start off by exploring the 12-bar blues in the key of F. As you probably guessed, it's called the 12-bar blues because it's only 12 bars long. Most jazz standards are 32 bars long, and so the blues form is around a third of the length of a typical jazz standard. Here we can see the F blues in its most basic form. As we can see, the 12 bars are only made up of 3 different chords: F7, B flat 7, and C7. Also notice that all of these chords are dominant chords. If we analyze the chords numerically, this is what we get. In the key of F, the 1 chord is obviously F, the 4 chord is B flat, and the 5 chord is C. So in the simple 12-bar blues, we play all of these chords as dominant 7th chords. So the 3 chords we will be using are F7, B flat 7, and C7. The structure of the blues form is the same in any key, and so it's important that you understand it numerically, as this will give you the blueprint to find the chords no matter what key you are playing in. So let's play through the chords to familiarize ourselves with the basic blues form. We start off in bar 1 with an F7, which is the 1 chord. In the simple blues, this lasts for the whole line, which is 4 bars, or a third of the entire 12-bar progression. On the second line, we have 2 bars of the 4 chord, which is B flat 7, and then we go back to 2 bars of the 1 chord, which is F7. On the third line, we have 1 bar of the 5 chord, which is C7, 1 bar of the 4 chord, which is B flat 7, and then the final 2 bars are the 1 chord, F7. And that finishes the form. Remember that this is the simplest and most basic of all blues forms, but it's important to understand and internalize this sequence before adding more chords into the progression. So now let's play through the 12 bars with the voicings to get a feel for the form. Open up the iReal Pro app and search for Blues Simple. Make sure the key is F and the tempo is set to 100 beats per minute. Then click into the mixer, check that the acoustic bass is all the way to the top, and then on the drums we want it to be on click on 2 and 4. Be aware that you would never use these root position voicings with the chord tones stacked sequentially. This was just for demonstration purposes. Instead, let's use our knowledge of rootless voicings, chord extensions, and alterations to create some more interesting sounding left-hand voicings. So you'll also notice that I was playing with syncopated rhythms, and in some cases anticipating the chord on the and of 4 of the previous bar. So let's explain those voicings. The first one we did for F7 was this voicing. So that's actually an F13. We have the flat 7 and the 3, which is the essential chord tones, and then the 13. So remember that the iReal Pro is playing the root of the chord for us, so we're playing with a bass player. And so these 3-note rootless voicings are a great sound to have in your left hand. Then moving from F7 to B flat 7, the bottom 2 notes drop down by a half step, and the top note drops down by a full step. And that takes us to B flat 9. So you can see we have the 9 on top. So the first chord, F13, then down to B flat 9. We then go back to F7 on the second line. And then moving on to the last line, I played C7, so there's the essential chord tones, 3 and flat 7, with a sharp 9 on top. And then halfway through the bar, I moved to the flat 9. So sharp 9, flat 9, and then we just played the same voicing for B flat 7, so we just got the natural 9 on top, and then the last 2 bars to F7. So when playing the blues, I would recommend always practicing with the iReal Pro. Gradually increase the tempo and set the number of repeats to 20 so that you can keep cycling around the form. Make sure you're playing accurately before you increase the tempo. The next step is to play these voicings with your eyes closed whilst also keeping the form. First of all, just look away from the piano and then move on to shutting your eyes completely. If you are voice leading the chords correctly, you shouldn't need to look at what you're playing in your left hand. It should be a smooth motion. And you can see to get from this position down to here doesn't take a lot of movement. And this is exactly what we want to achieve, so it allows us to focus on our right hand. You need to be able to feel where you are in the form. This just comes with playing it over and over and over again. Your body will begin to feel the 12 bars. So when you've practiced this enough, you should never have to think of what chord is coming next because you have fully memorized and internalized the chord changes. This may take you a day or it may take you a week to get those chords down. Whatever it takes, just put in the practice so that you can play these voicings with your eyes closed. In the next lesson, we're going to introduce the jazz blues form. The jazz blues contains more complex harmony, including both a major and a minor 2-5-1. Once you understand the jazz blues form, we can then dive straight into improvisation drills for your first blues solo.